Let's talk about the community theater here in the Somerset region. What is it all about? How do you all function? What do you do? How many plays do you have a year? Just talk about the community theater program.
Well, let me tell you, it's my truest love in this community. I'm involved in a lot of different things, but the community theater is that thing that feeds my soul, so I'm very passionate about it. And it's a wonderful program. It's in tandem with the theater program at SCC College. So it is truly there set up for students to learn about the theater. And the coordinator, the head man in charge is Steve Kleberg, and he is a true asset to the community. A lot of people don't know him because he's usually behind the scenes, but he's a wonderful, wonderful leader. And so students get a chance to, take classes with him. And quite honestly, if there are any students out there that are thinking about following in theater and think they need to go up to a big 4-year school, they should definitely consider doing their first 2 years down here with Steve, because they will get hands-on training that is just not available to them at a 4-year school. So I just can't say enough good things about the program. So it is there for the students. But what happens with the community aspect of it is, because a lot of times he only has a handful of students, and it's not required that those students be in the productions, he comes to the community and taps us for the rest of the story.
Talent.
Yes.
For local talent.
Well, and there's just so many of us, because you truly become a family and alums of the family. So when he puts the rehearsal schedule out, or what the show is going to be, the slate for the next year, you can really know, oh, there's a part in this for me, or oh, maybe I'll get to sing or something. So, but we all do go through auditions. Everybody auditions, the students, the community members, everybody. We have auditions, a big audition once a year, and then they'll do another one before the next production starts, just to see if there was anybody that maybe didn't get.
How many plays or musicals or performances do you all do in a year?
Pretty much it's 2 shows a year, a fall production and a spring production. And then now, in the past, we've done some summer repertory where we did a couple shows in the summer, but now it's turned into a film project. Steve has really, one of his sabbaticals went out to study, filmmaking, and got really excited about that. So in the summer, we've been doing film projects, and I can get you hooked up with that too. So there are all kinds of social media pages and, opportunities. So even if you didn't ever fancied yourself on stage, you could get involved, not just as an actor, but as a technical person with film. So. And
there are a lot of places for people in a show rather than in front of the stage, because you all had a very nice set design for Spring River Anthology, and I would assume that takes a lot of time to put together too.
Weeks and weeks. So if you've ever fancied yourself a set designer, a set technician, going and doing true stagecraft, that happens about 6 weeks before the production ever sets foot, on the stage. Technical aspects, lighting, costumes. I mean, it takes an army. It takes a village
to put on a show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talk about the fact that the theater, as you mentioned, is for the students. It's for the students at Somerset Community College to learn, to get experience from, but it also brings in the community. How do you all like to work together? How do you how does the local talent work with the students?
It is truly a family. It becomes such a, when you do a show, Spoon River didn't lend itself to that because there were a lot of monologue work, so you didn't get to work with students, or with another actor. A lot of times you were just alone on the stage during your rehearsal process. So it wasn't until the last 2 weeks that we all came together. So that was a little bit more awkward, because you just, you've been working on the show for 6 weeks, but you didn't meet everyone until the last 2 weeks. But usually it's every, well, not every night, but, whenever you're rehearsal, you're working intimately with people on stage, and you just meet the neatest people, and it's people that you wouldn't normally, Greg and I are in our 40s, but we adopt almost every year these 20-somethings that are just literally become family for us, and we call it a family, and it really does become a special thing. So we do very well together, I think. I think it's a neat mix. They might think we're a little strange, though.
When you choose a performance that you're going to produce and give to the community, what's the production schedule like for that? Once you choose a show, choose a performance, when do you begin working on that?
Auditions for the fall production, or for the year, a lot of times are in August. And then Steve will have in his mind what he wants to do. And then once he casts that production, he puts together a master rehearsal schedule. And this is unlike any other theater program or opera program that I've been involved with ever, because he asks you to fill out a calendar, of the next 2 months, 3 months, and you X out whenever you're not able to be there. So if you're involved with a church program on Wednesdays, you would X out that day, or Tuesday night is my bridge club, I X out that day. And he will literally work around your schedule and build the rehearsal schedule. And a lot of times that it matters for casting. You know what I mean? Like, as I often said in the old days, I was cast so much in plays because I didn't have a life and I was available. I didn't have any other conflicts. So that really does help if you don't have a lot of conflicts. But if you do, there's still probably a part for you sometimes, He will tailor make that. And then once the rehearsal schedule is set, then it's kind of in stone. And, everybody makes a true commitment to be there at those times. And he never keeps you past your time.
You all do have a performance coming up in the spring that we'll talk about when we come back. And I also want to talk about the process that you all go through as performers, as actors, because as you mentioned, your last play had a lot of monologues. You all have a lot of lines to remember. And I'm just curious to know how all that comes together and how you remember all of those. Welcome back to Mid Mornings with Amy. It is Tuesday, November 26th, 34 degrees outside, a rainy morning here. 2 days until Thanksgiving. So happy early Thanksgiving. We're talking with Theresa Kibby this morning. She does quite a few things, but we're talking this morning about Somerset Community College's community theater and what an asset that they are to the community in bringing shows and performances and putting on performances for us. Let's talk about, before we talk about your monologue and how you memorize all your lines. I know you want to talk about your process. Thank you. Let's talk about Reader's Theater.
Well, that was another thing. If you are considering doing a play and you are punked out about, trying to memorize something, I can't memorize, or I haven't done it in many years, we also have what's called Reader's Theater. And that is usually, again, twice a year, and it's only a 2-week commitment. And you don't have to memorize. They stage it, and you're up on the stage, but you carry your script with you. And it's become a very popular, not just for the community, but like also it's usually sold out. People, packed and love to come see it because they're very short plays. They're usually comedic. And so it's great for the audience. They have become to really love this, and also for newbies, I call them newbies in the theater program, that are really intimidated about the memorization aspect. And we had a lot of newbies this year that did Reader's Theater and then jumped in to Spoon River and did a great job. So if that is a great gateway into the program if you are scared to memorize. So that's twice a year.
You can focus maybe more on technique and stage presence, and
that's
not
exactly
worry so much about
memorizing.
Lines.
And just get what it feels like to be up on the stage in front of an audience saying lines without having to worry about memorizing them. They work really hard. By the time, you'd be surprised, a lot of times they're very much out of their script and their heads are up. You don't realize how easy it is, really. We were talking about memorization and during the break. It really does happen quite easily. But Reader's Theater is a great way to get started in the program. So we'll give you ways to get involved with that. You can come to auditions and say, I just want to be in Readers. I don't want to do the commitment of the big play.
All of the actors and actresses, performers, I suppose, that were in Spoon River Anthology this past weekend were just top quality performers. You all were very excellent, and I want people to know they need to come to the shows to support you all and to see you all, because it is true theater. You all did an excellent job.
And what's so exciting about that, we've got high school kids involved in that. There were 2 high school kids involved in this production, all the way up to community members that have been involved in dozens and dozens of projects.
True community theater.
And this was a new interesting adventure because we had professional musicians involved with this show. LeMay and Reese were involved with this show, and that's the first time we brought in true. I talk about an asset to the community. LeMay and Reese are this wonderful folk duo, and Spoon River lends itself to having that folk music. So they would segue the groups with wonderful music and accompanied some of the actors to sing, and it was great. Yeah.
It's always interesting to me how good actors, good performers memorize all those lines. What's the technique that you all use?
Well, I'm sure for every actor, there's probably their own technique. In fact, myself, I work out loud. It's muscle memory. It's the only thing for me is muscle memory. And so I just say the lines out loud, literally every day, sometimes 3 times a day. I tend to do short bursts. I'll work for 10 minutes, but I'll do it 4 times during the day. And, it's just repetition, repetition, repetition. There's really no secret to it, Greg Moore does a completely different thing. Since I live with him, I'm privy to it. He does something that's completely, a lot of, people say that it would be wrong, quote unquote, but it works for him magically in that he records all his lines and listens to them. So that's
but say them out loud
right.
with the recording.
And again, the muscle memory. Yeah, it really is. You know how do I know all the words to this song that I'm singing as I'm driving
because
down the road?
It.
It's because you hear it and you've done it 1,000 times. So you literally have to do it 1,000 times. It's commitment. But if you sit in your bedroom alone with the lights off and you go and you just read the words over and over again, that is not the same thing. You have to do them out loud and work with them and work with voices and do different things and work with your diction. And I think it will happen. I think anybody can memorize. I really do.
You've talked about readers' theater and how it can be a good introduction into stage theater in general. But if anyone this morning is listening and might be a little curious about how they can become a part of this theater family that you all talk about, if they want to get more information, talk about it a little bit more, maybe even audition in January for your show coming up in the spring, what ways would you suggest that they try to get involved with you?
Well, it's with social media now, it's just absolutely easy. I would say go immediately to Facebook right now, the second, and like Somerset Community College Theater and Film page. If you put Somerset, write out the word Somerset Community College Theater and Film page, like that page, and right there you're going to get updates.
So people will know what shows are coming up,
when auditions are, interesting things that have happened, if there's an article somewhere, it's just a great page. It's very informative. The film aspect is more what he'll link a lot of times to the other pages, but Somerset Theater's digital shorts page is also digital video productions page is another great page. And then you can get involved with the digital shorts and things that are going on also. And then auditions is the best way. Come see what it's all about, because our auditions are unlike any other auditions that I've ever been to, and they're
in what way? How are they different?
They're friendly, they're supportive. We watch each other and applaud. It's usually a reunion because it's a lot of community members. So if you're scared, we're going to make you feel at home. So it's usually a party, and they're usually 2 nights in tandem. The next ones are in January 27th and 28th. It's usually a Monday and Tuesday. You don't have to go to both, but you can. If you felt like you bombed on Monday, come Tuesday. And he being Steve Kleberg, will usually have a packet that you can pick up a couple weeks ahead of time if you want to prepare. It'll have snippets of what they're going to use. It'll have that schedule that I'm talking about. Really have that prepared when you come. You can commit, I'm interested in this show, or I'm interested in behind the scenes, or, you can tell them exactly how much you're interested in doing, or you can just hang out. We've had people come to auditions and just watch because they're, not sure, or, so it's a great way to get involved. I'd say come to the auditions, like the pages, come to production.
You mentioned that if anyone, a student entering college, is interested in the theater program, that they might not want to venture out too far.
I highly recommend doing your first 2 years at SCC Community Theater, it's community college, and doing the theater program. The kids that are those whippersnappers, once they're graduating, they are going into these bigger venues, at Northern or wherever, Western, and they're getting cast. It's fun because you're usually Facebook friends with them. You're seeing the productions that they're in. So they're going out of the 2-year school into the bigger fish pond, and they're getting cast, and they have experience that they just could not get.
And I would recommend the same thing for anyone who wants to go see a good show. When they know that the Somerset Community College Theater is putting on a show, please check it out and go see it, because it really is top quality actors doing a great job, and you will enjoy it, I promise you.